What have you been putting off in your legal life? What legal issues do you have that you are just wanting to avoid so badly that you put it in the corner and you think it'll just go away? Just sit there and be quiet. Is it working for you? That's the biggest question. Is it working for you? In today's video, we're going to talk about why and how confronting challenges will lead to greater rewards. The challenges build the champions, and that is in life, and I like to say legal life. So whether it is estate planning, whether it is bringing a lawsuit, whether it is defending a lawsuit, or considering your legal rights and options, this question is going to be at the heart of so much of it. I know attorneys right now who just want to stay away from court and think that life will be easier, and that's not true. Okay. And I know people who are thinking, well, estate planning, that's kind of soft. It's easier. It's one-on-one with the attorney. There's no real challenges there, and that's a lie. Oftentimes there can be some of the nastiest challenges there because they're very personal between family members, between siblings, parents, and their children. So there's challenges there too. Challenge is a part of life. It's absolutely a part of legal life because by nature, right, there's always like a someone versus someone else. But that doesn't mean that it, there's not going to be an ultimate solution. There has to be one. And if you don't challenge, it's probably going to go against you. All right. So in today's video, we're going to talk about why there is great reward on the other side of this great risk, this big challenge, whatever it is that we're facing. And it can even be financially. Well, I want to do some legal planning, but it costs too much. Well, that's a challenge. But guess what? There's going to be a bigger, even bigger reward on the other side of that risk, whatever it is. Okay. And what I really want to say, and we're going to get into the three kind of keys here on this that I like to do in these videos, is that if you don't confront the challenge, there's already a challenger, there's already a champion who has something that you want. So there can be no, what a popular phrase is, there can be no advancement without adversity. Well, in the legal world, there are already adversaries, people on the other side of you, and they have often what you want, or they are kind of like the final boss in a video game. You have to get through them to win. And often, the clients that I work with the best and have the best results for, they understand that and they're willing to take on that risk. But the clients that kind of cower and don't want to step up to that challenge, what they don't understand is that their adversary already has everything that they want. Whether it's the property that they want to keep and manage, whether it is the property that they're trying to acquire, right, from the estate or from whomever it is, whether it's a sum of money, it doesn't matter. It's an inheritance. There's something you're giving up. You think you might be keeping the peace by just smoothing it out and not saying anything. But what I like to say is you're not keeping the peace, you're killing the peace. You're killing your peace because you are frustrated and bothered by it. And your adversary, they have what it is that you want. Okay, so let's get into just really the three keys that you may not even realize you're giving up when it comes to this kind of risk reward situation. Okay. And your adversaries or your enemies, they already have these things. This is what you don't have. And this is what we're not talking about. So the first one is they have awareness. They have awareness of what the reward is, what that value is. They know that it's valuable. They know how much it's worth. They are very aware of it. And so that's why they put up such a fight. They know how much the house is worth. They know how much money is in the bank. They know how much the estate is. They know, and when it comes to like government, for instance, if that's who your opponent is, because this happens, they know that the empty lot is worth millions. Okay, so they have that awareness. They know what the reward is, whether it is $1 million now or $1 million in 10 years. They have that awareness. Okay, so that's the first one. And if you just kind of cower down to them, you lose all of that. And that's just the first part. Okay. So they have the awareness of what it is. The second one is oftentimes, this is what we don't like to talk about, but oftentimes they already have access to what? Resources. They already, again, they have the money. They have the money to lawyer up and go to court and fight you for that reward. They have the money, they have the property, they have the relationships, they have access to all of these things. And this is what you want. This is what you can get if you fight for what it is that is worth it to you. A lot of times I know people will come to me and say, well, I can't afford an attorney, so, I can't defend the suit, or I can't bring the suit. But guess what? Their adversary has an attorney. They're represented. So they have resources that they're putting to use. When it comes to government, fighting government over property, which I see happen all the time, they're lawyered up. They have an entire legal department. Do you think that you can fight them without resources? No, you cannot. Or without access? No. That's why it's so important. They have that already. So that's what you want. That's what you need. That's what is on the other side of the risk. This great reward. And then the third thing that they have, because they have awareness, because they have access, they have the affluence, right? They have the riches, they have the goods, they have the actual physical things, not just the idea of them. So, for instance, we talked about, let's say it's a vacant lot that is not worth $1 million now, but it's worth $1 million in 10 years. Well, they have the property in and of itself, right? That's what we're talking about. So maybe they already have the house, but they're not, now they're trying to fight you for it because they know how much it's worth, right? So your enemies, your adversaries, they will always have something that you want. They will always have awareness of what that reward actually is, not just in the present, but in the future. So they have like insight into the investment of it, excuse me, and how much it will cost in the future. They have the access, again, they have the access to resources. They can lawyer up. They have access to relationships. If they, whether they pay for it up front or not, they know somebody. Okay. And then they have the affluence because they've been doing these things. They accumulate them. They accumulate the riches. They accumulate the rewards. And now they can fight you for them. All right. And this kind of leads to a bonus point of why you need an advocate. I can't tell you how many times I've had consultations with people who are fighting very great fights, especially over property, okay, like physical property, real estate. Um, and whoever it is on the other side of them, whether it is a neighbor, whether it is a family member, they're fighting for rights to the property, right, property ownership, whether it is the government itself trying to either take their property away or, overtax it or something. These other entities, these adversaries, they have representation. They have attorneys, they have advocates. And when I consult with clients, oftentimes they're trying to fight these battles alone. They're trying to go up against the resources, like we talked about, of the city government, the state government, or the resources of someone who has already hired an attorney. And they're trying to fight this battle alone and then wonder why they're not getting the results, the reward that they want. And it's because you need an advocate, somebody that's not you, somebody that's not stressing the way you are, because there's a lot of stress involved in it. Somebody who has eyes you don't have, because um, we can read the law and interpret it and understand it in a way that any, we call lay person, that means somebody who hasn't studied for it, will understand. And that's not any judgment. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. I've had consults with clients who come and tell me about this rule they found, this statute, which is a rule by law, right, by a legislative body. And they'll say, well, can I use this? Can I use this? Does that apply? And it's like from a totally another state in a totally different district. And so, no, you can't. You can Google all you want to, but that's going to cost time. Okay. And that's a risk. Are you willing to risk all that time and you don't even know if you can get the reward, right? Or are you going to risk another resource? Are you going to risk money to hire someone, an advocate, who can help you get that reward, right? So I really just wanted to come on here today and talk about how, when it comes to these fights, when it comes to these challenges, yes, there is going to be risk involved. And so many attorneys, like I said, in and of themselves, they are trained to um, not even manage. They're trained to mitigate risk, and a lot of times that's risk avoidance, meaning, well, this might happen, so don't do it. No, the better and the more sound strategy would be to really manage the risk. All right. Does that mean just going all in on everything and shooting for the wall? No. Be very strategic about it. Understand that the risk is out there. Understand that this can happen, but so can this, and building a roadmap of it, right? The key is to know what your destination is. So if I'm living here in Michigan and I want to drive to Florida, I have to map out a plan, but understand that there may be some detours along the way, and I need to be ready for that. And that's all of what risk management is. Know that there can be some detours along the way. Know that you might get stopped up. Know that it might cost more than you anticipated in time and in money. But ultimately, if you reach your destination, it's going to be worth it. And when it comes to our legal challenges, whether it's as simple as planning an estate, it seems so easy, but I'm telling you, fights happen here almost more than any other any other kind of court battle because it gets so personal between family. And so we might think what a simple will or trust is going to be. Somebody is going to insert their grievance and they're going to want to challenge it. And this is where understanding these keys is so important. Why are they challenging it? It might not even seem like it makes any sense, but again, it's because your adversaries have something you may not have or are aware of what you don't know. Again, aware of the greatness of the reward. They have access to resources to fight for and secure the reward, and they have affluence. They've been doing it so long, they've built up riches to be able to not only fight back with, but also just to accumulate, right, to their portfolio. So, what I don't want for 2024, because this has happened too often, and this is why I'm kind of on this theme of risk and reward and confronting challenges, is for you to just bow out of the fight and not even try to do anything. That's always a losing strategy. You're going to lose something that way. You might think you're saving money, you might think you're saving time, you're losing peace, and your peace is greater than any time or any money. And not only that, you're losing key pieces of your legacy. Okay, so you might be losing some property, you might be losing some money. Who can that go to and benefit in the future if you don't fight for it today in the present, right? So, a big key, a big theme, I'll say, that we're probably going to be going on for the next couple of weeks is just this risk reward analysis because too many people have lost the battle, have lost the fight before even suiting up and getting in it. They just put it down because they don't want to take on the challenge. They don't want to confront the conflict. And they think that they'll be okay doing that, and they're not. These are the people I see losing the most sleep. They lose the most money because they still have to pay money to try to mitigate it some other way. And then they're just under stress about it and they just walk away. They walk away from their dreams. I've seen people walk away from their dreams of building businesses in a singular property. I've seen people walk away from building businesses on a commercial strip, seeing them walking away from continuing family legacy and family properties because they don't want to deal with the conflict. They don't want to deal with the risk. And so they give up the greatness of that reward. And who gets to keep it? Their adversary, who's not going to be invested the way they are, who's not caring, honestly, about continuing the family legacy, who's not caring about building up the community and bringing businesses to revitalize that economy. That's what's being given up. That's what their risk is allowing them to lose, that great reward. All right, so that's just the theme of the month, I'll say, for January. We'll talk about the risk reward analysis and why confronting challenge is a necessity in life generally, but especially when it comes to legal challenges. Okay, so again, your adversaries, they have three things that you may or may not know you have, and that is why they are holding on so tight. And that's awareness of the greater rewards, access to resources, to fight for those rewards and affluence, the riches that they're going to accumulate with these rewards. So the question is now, what are you going to do? Are you going to continue to just kind of lay down at the starting line, not even at the finish line? You don't even start. Are you just lay there and let everybody else go ahead of you? Or are you going to get into the fight? That's just a life question. Okay. And we'll talk about more next week on our next live, which is Wednesday, January 24th, same time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, this is Attorney Patterson, Principal Attorney, Patterson Justice Council, PLLC. We'll see you then. Thank you.